said goodnight to his two boys, told them he loved them, and made sure to give each of them a kiss on the cheek. But I would say Don and Eric squirm the same way my 4-year-old does when his daddy tries to give him a kiss on the cheek. Sorry, guys. He is all those things, but tonight we celebrate he is our once and future President of the United States of America. Now, I want to respond.
Hi, everybody. It's Lasha. I don't know if you've ever been to this channel before. If you've just come across this channel, my name is Lasha Rojenko, and the channel is called High Voltage. I think this channel has been called every name under the sun. Well, that's not true. It's been called 5 names under the sun. It was started off as Lasha Rojenko, which is this channel. And then I figured out how to use YouTube on a phone. So then I started L and L Soul Sisters. Well, and then the phone crapped out. So I had to get another phone, but I couldn't remember the passwords. So then I came across this channel and I had to get another phone and I called it High Voltage. Real quick, Trevor's Life in Legos is the gentleman that created the High Voltage icon. So for any of you that have come across from me, and some people find these dolls really creepy. Sorry, I'll move it away. I need to be sensitive because, yes, I know some people find that very creepy. Okay. Why do I have these items beside me? Well, I wanted most of the elements around me. At any rate, so there's 3 channels. If you ever happen to cross this video, and if there's anything at all that you like about it, I implore you to hit that free participation button that Google calls subscribe, which sounds like a commitment for life. You subscribe to Time magazine. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's content creators participating with each other. Anyhow, so today I'm reading The Exorcism of Annalese Michael. And why do I keep these salts beside me and my grandmother, my great-great-grandmother? Well, pardon me, in one of the lives, you will see, and it's downloaded onto High Voltage, and it's on this channel. If you're going to subscribe to anything, I would subscribe to High Voltage because that's where all the action is, as it were. At any rate, so I'm going to dive right into the book. It is 4 minutes in, and I guess that's enough of me babbling. Let's get into it. So if you want to catch up, yesterday I did a live. I conducted a live, and I read about 3 pages and asked everybody to comment in reference to what they thought. And the people that watched the video didn't like or comment. So let's try it this way. Excuse me. Actually, you know what? I'll just use this one right now. Uh-oh, there. Okay. When some hours later Annalise tried to call her parents, she was not allowed to pick up the phone. Peter, who had come to visit her, did it for her. Why wasn't she allowed to pick up the phone? Her parents decided to come and see her. She was in a hospital. Talking, Roswitha along. I just call this woman Annalise's friend Roz. Pardon me. They also invited Father Renz so he could pray the exorcism over her. I found Annalise in bed in her room, he declared to the state attorney. Seemingly unconscious, she did not react at all to the exorcism. Her only response was a weak smile, and she did not open her eyes. On the tape, he says, March the 7th, today he had nothing at all to say, unquote. And don't forget, the movie in which this book is based on is very, very, very close to this book. One of the things that the author, Dr. Goodman, what is it, sweetheart? Yeah, Sophie's not feeling well. What is it, Bobbins? You know, it's funny also, anytime I read anything about Annalise Michael or when I read cards, the dog literally goes bananas. Yesterday, when I was doing the participants' tarot card read, Sophie was walking all over the cards. And that's why I had to write them down. So baby, what is it? I'll just be a minute, okay? But at the beginning of the book, Dr. Goodman goes into a lot of the history of the family and who they are. And they were very, very, very Catholic. And it was inbred in them, you know, to the degree that Scientology is inbred in human beings. Okay? So, Roz stayed on in Weinsberg to care for Annalise, helped by Elizabeth and M. Anna Lippin would come by too, looking in on her own when she stayed in bed and calling Father Renz with requests for exorcism prayers. He also complied at home in Shipok. Annalise said that she could perceive it and it made her feel better. It was about this time that she told Roz that she overheard the demons quarreling among themselves. Then the heinous faces, the Francais faces, faded, and then the heinous faces came to see disappeared. So back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. She also mentioned it to Father Alt, who came to see disappeared. She also mentioned it to Father Alt, who came to see her as he had done before in February. Soon, however, she was up and around again. She resumed her thesis research and on March the 9th went to see Dr. Wolford. the general practitioner at the Ferdinandium. She gave him a brief description of her neurological history, and he renewed her Tegretol prescription for her. She looked somewhat exhausted, Dr. Wolf wrote to the state attorney on February 9th, 1977, but she made a psychological normal impression. She did not tell him of the possession, of course, nor did she mention what she did tell Peter, namely, that though her feet had healed up, she felt a continuous ache where the stigmata had been. She also perceived the stigmata. Oh, no, 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 no. I know why you were whining. That's my shawarma. No, 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 no. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, she did not tell him of the possession, of course, nor did she mention what she did tell Peter, namely, that although her feet had healed up, she felt a continuous ache where the stigmata had been. She also perceived the stigmata on her hands as a pain in the middle of her palms, sometimes stronger, then receding again. She ate a lot, to Peter's surprise, often double portions. How come? He asked her. She looked a little guilty. I know this is the Lenten season, and I should be eating less, not more, but have the feeling I need to, although I don't know why. Then she added, smiling a little bit, but I do renounce some foods that I really like to make up for it. Okay, just as a really quick side note, this was 12 minutes. That's long enough. But when I get the Kennedy book, I'm going to read a couple more pages. But I'm going to keep going. Just to summarize this really quickly, when you think about it, she was sick and she was better. She was sick and she was better. How did she get the stigmata? How did she get that? What was it? Because she was roaming around and she was known to hurt herself? And then she would get thin, and then she would get weak, and on and on and on and on and on and on and on, right? And when she said that she had to keep eating, but she didn't know why, and she was still taking the Tegretol, which is still given to people to this day, okay? Now, the other thing is, why did she know to eat more? Was it because, and it was Lent too. And in the Catholic Church on Ash Wednesday, I'm not quite sure what the rituals are. You see, a lot of churches to me seem like cults, to be honest with you. I believe in a higher power. I believe in God. But religions, in my opinion, are like cults. So I'm going to leave it there. How did she know that she needed to eat more? You know why? Because she died of starvation. Because then it's almost like she became anorexic. But to be an anorexic, epileptic, schizophrenic doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense. And actually, I was just glancing over at this last chapter called Jousting with the Demons. And it's a really good chapter. So I'm just going to read a couple of pages, but I actually have to run downstairs and get My pen. Sorry, I was just wondering where I put my wallet. You know what? I don't really think I want to go to what's his name's today. No, I don't think so. He sure hasn't been very helpful. Not very nice. Here's my helmet, and I found my wallet. I just had a brief, sigh there because, I try to keep everything in the same place. And yeah, there's my card. Okay, there's everything there. Okay, all right. So, anyways, I was just thinking about that. And that's probably why she ate more than usual, but she didn't know why. I mean, we've all done things and we don't know why we do it, but we get a payoff out of it. Sometimes I hate that word payoff. It's so Dr. Phil. Oh my gosh. I was supposed to go downstairs and get a pen. Okay, the other thing I was going to say to you is, where's my milk? I really, yesterday with that axe, I really hurt underneath here, like really, really bad. I just need to grab my milk. There we go. I got that arthritis Tylenol. I hate taking that. I absolutely hate it. It feels like it's cracking. Okay, so July the 18th of 2024, and it's Thursday. Now, when you look at what happened to Annalise Michael, I don't know. Was she possessed? Wasn't she possessed? I don't know. I don't know. But if you believe in God, how could you not believe that this is possible? I find religion in that way to be very hypocritical. And I don't know why Candace Owens is on this crusade about King is Christ. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And she's adamant about it. She puts on this tough exterior, but I think she is so highly intelligent, and she brings forth the news and her thoughts in such an articulate way and manner in which she speaks. And she's got a lot to say about things, boy, oh boy. But I'm telling you, this Christ is King business. And then when Russell Brand and her were praying, it was almost like, wait a minute, we are going backwards almost because we've gone too forward. And do you know that men that participate in regular, right? It is so unhealthy sexually, intimately. We all need to be touched. The skin is the largest organ in our body. What does that have to do with anything I'm talking about? People are comparing Donald Trump to, I don't know. You use your imagination. But may I remind everybody of one thing. And I know that you can't get slammed for what you said 15 years ago because, you were a different person, right? And he said after 9/11 that after the Twin Towers came down, that Trump Towers was now the tallest building. I don't know if it was in the world or in New York. I don't remember. That was horrible. And Julian, who's the mayor of New York, he was involved with the Sackler family who created the opioid crisis. You don't think Donald Trump knew all about that? Come on. These people know so much, and they keep it from us. But I'm telling you, not politically, I'm talking from a spiritual level. There are evil forces and good forces going on in the world right now. That's why I'm reading this book. And I am trying to build a relationship with God. And I want my content to improve. So here we go. Now, before I finish, I want to read, that's where I'm coming from with reading about exorcisms and, Christ is King and yada, yada, yada. But then how can people ignore the fact that there are devils? Okay, I'm scratching my back. And for those of you that want to know why I started the channel, I'm going to make this short and sweet. Do you see the size of this nail? I broke my femur. A surgeon decided to stick 2 of these babies in, and he drilled them into my knee. My leg was straight for 3 years. There's now an orifice in my knee. And the fact that it took me, and I had to have the tiny little pins there for another 1.5 years. So I had pins in my leg for 2.5 years, and these in for 6 months. And the mother blanker didn't say a word. That's why I started the channel. If you go to change.org and search for Lasha Rojenko, you find me there. Now, the Hillbilly Elegy. When I watched that movie with Glenn Close and I was hearing about Grandma and Gammy and all of that, I thought it was absolutely inspiring. And I really like JD. I do. So, politics, puppeteers. But let's go listen to what JD said yesterday because I think it's rather important. I really do. Whatever happened to Mike Pence? Does any Trump followers remember that the crowd was chanting "Hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence," because he certified that Joe Biden won? Trump knew he was not hurt. It's like a car accident. You go into shot and you got missed. Now, a bullet is one thing where you could have died. I could have died on my scooter. Everybody could have almost died. I'm actually surprised somebody hasn't tried to do that to Donald Trump like 100 times already. So was he lucky? And when Candace Owen read that chapter from the Bible, 6:11, and she said, that's the exact time. That's the exact time when this happened to our former president, Donald Trump. Let's take a look. Everybody's so serious. I don't know what happened to me, but I am so glad I'm not serious, and I'm really glad I'm not Gypsy Rose. Oh, I'll be talking about that. If you look at my footage where it says Gypsy Rose Blanchard, listen to what I say and look at what's happening now. Okay? That's why my mother thinks I'm psychic. Just take a look. Okay, listen to JD. What do you all think? Seriously. I want to know what you think. I even liked it. See, I'm such a good YouTube etiquette person. I take a lot of pride in that. Okay, I'm going to shut up.
We have a big tent in this party on everything from national security to economic policy. But my message to you, my fellow Republicans, is we love this country and we are united to win.
My fellow Republicans, what about my fellow Americans? That was tricky. What the heck? What the heck?
Now, I think our disagreements actually make us stronger. That's what I've learned in my time in the United States Senate, where sometimes I persuade my colleagues and sometimes they persuade me. And my message to my fellow Americans, those watching from across the country, is shouldn't we be governed by a party that is unafraid to debate ideas and come to the best solution?
Did he say my fellow Americans? Or my fellow Republicans? Or did he say my fellow Americans? What did he say? This is, I can't believe the Hillbilly Elegy made it from the Appalachian Mountains to the top. That's freaking amazing.
I stand here humbled and I'm overwhelmed with gratitude to say I officially accept your nomination to be Vice President of the United States of America. my wildest imagination could I have believed that I'd be standing here tonight. I grew up in Middletown, Ohio. A small town where people spoke their minds, built with their hands, and loved their God, their family, their community, and their country with their whole hearts. But it was also a place that had been cast aside and forgotten by America's ruling class in Washington. When I was in the 4th grade, a career politician by the name of Joe Biden supported NAFTA, a bad trade deal that sent countless good jobs to Mexico.
That was really strange, wasn't it?
That same career politician named Joe Biden gave China a sweetheart trade deal that destroyed even more good American middle-class manufacturing jobs.
May I also say that under the Trump administration, let's not forget, he knew the evil Jekyll from the island, and the evil Jekyll's brother has been on YouTube on many different channels because mainstream media won't talk about it. He wants to know who hurt his brother. But again, what I found so strange that the media did is they took a picture of the evil jackal after his apparent, and then who does that? Who takes a picture of somebody after, without a full white sheet over top of them, but the face showing? That was weird. I saw that and it gave me chills. I thought, well, what's he doing? I said this last night to Melody Moon. What's he doing? He's going to go like with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta with that movie Face Off? And I have a lot of respect for how hard that man has worked. I really hope that this near-death experience changed Donald Trump, because he's done and hurt a lot of people. And for somebody who loves people and loves his country, he's hurt a lot of people. And do your own research on that, and that's my opinion. I say no more. Let's finish watching this, and then I'll finish with Annalise, okay? I think this is really important time in history. I really do. Even with my tarot card readings, when you go look at what I said about the royal family and what's going on now, they were right. These cards blow my mind. So, and don't forget, if you're subscribed, you get as many. I love doing it. I could do it all day. If I work, it's only for a few hours at nighttime. Okay? So, at any rate, here we go.
When I was a senior in high school, that same Joe Biden supported the disastrous invasion of Iraq. And at each step of the way, in small towns like mine in Ohio, or next door in Pennsylvania or Michigan, in states all across our country, jobs were sent overseas and our children were sent to war. And I agree. And somehow, a real estate developer from New York City by the name of Donald J. Trump was right on all of these issues while Biden was wrong. President Trump knew even then that we needed leaders who would put America first.
Lasha, what are you doing?
Thanks to these policies, the diet and other
Jesus.
politicians in Washington gave us, our country was flooded with cheap Chinese goods, with cheap foreign labor, and in decades to come, deadly Chinese spend money. Joe Biden screwed up, and my community paid the price. Now, I was lucky. Despite the closing factories and the growing addiction of
I know what I was going to say. I know what I was going to say is what I don't understand is he's from the Appalachian Mountains and he's talking about addiction and family and all of that. But Oxycontin in the States was approved because of the mayor of New York. And oh, who was the president then? Was it Bush? It was Bush. They all knew what the Sackler family was doing. They didn't do anything to stop them. And if you've ever watched Crime of the Century or Dope Sick on Disney or Painkiller on Netflix, is probably easier to access. The story is horrendous. To me, that was a genocide because they knew what it was doing and they found ways around it to blame the people that they got sick to get rich for money. And it happened to his mother. And now he's standing beside somebody who, under his administration, the evil jackal was given, what did they call it? So that everybody, the sweetheart deal with Kevin O'Costas. And I remember when Donald Trump swore him in, I thought him and his wife looked, wow. So this is very interesting. If you've ever read his book, read the book, the Hillbilly Elegy. The book is better than the movie.
towns like mine. In my life, I had a guardian angel by my side. She was an old woman who could barely walk, but she was tough as nails. I called her Mamaw, the name we hillbillies gave our grandmothers.
I love this guy. I do. I love
Mamaw raised me as her own.
Gamma.
Mamaw raised me as my mother struggled with addiction.
And I wonder
Mamaw
why.
was in so many ways a
And
woman of
Donald
contradiction.
Trump
She
and
loved the
Julie,
Lord, ladies and
that
gentlemen. She was a woman of
mayor
very
and all
deep
those
Christian faith.
politicians were bought off by Purdue Pharma.
But she also loved the F word.
I'll be back.
I'm not kidding.
And we can
She
talk
could make a
about
sailor
it
blush.
tomorrow. Okay?
Because she once told me,
I just have to
when
go
she
to
found
sleep.
out that I spent too much time
I'll
on
be
looking
back
at
in 5 minutes, but you don't even need me
and if I
because
ever
when
hung
I
out
come
with
back,
my
I'm
kids
sitting
again,
on the
she
couch
would run over with the phone.
and I'm watching it with you.
That's true. She said, JD, no one will ever find out about it. Now, thanks to that man wall, things worked out for me. After 9/11, I did what thousands of other young men my age did at that time of soaring patriotism and love of country. I
A
enlisted in the
war
United
of
States Marines.
lies. Oh my God. I don't believe this.
Simplified
What
by
are
fellow
they
Marines.
cheering for?
I left the Marines
I
after
don't
3 years and went
understand.
to the Ohio State
People.
University.
If you watch this, could you please comment and explain this to me? I'm Canadian. I don't
I'm sorry,
understand
Michigan, I had
this.
to get that in there. Come on. We've had enough political violence. After Ohio State, I went to Yale Law School where I met my beautiful wife. And then I started businesses to create jobs in the kind of places I grew up in. Now, my work taught me that there is still so much talent and grit in the American heart, and there really is.
Right.
But for these places to thrive, my friends, we need a leader who fights for the people who built this country.
Okay. Oh, what was that? Oh, it was my Swiffer. I did a video today on how not to waste. And if you're really trying to penny pinch, because everything in life is very, very difficult. In which the society we live, and this is the heartbreaking news, and this is the heart-wrenching truth. Here, I just have to put on my jewelry, or I don't feel like myself. Again, if you're just flying by, my name is Lasha Rojenko, and all right, now. I don't know why I'm shouting. So I am there. Okay. I'm Canadian. And I don't understand the raha with the politics. It's very culty to me. And what's so interesting about that is, and this is completely off topic of Annalise Michael. However, people are so into their own beliefs and opinions. And I think what causes somebody to be a quote influencer is they're controversial, because people like drama. I don't know. I need to understand that. And I also need to understand why JD, whose mother was addicted to Oxycontin, is not aware that underneath Donald Trump's administration, the Sackler family bought the mayor off to buy so-and-so off to pass the 160, what Johnny Depp called Roxycontin. And based on my experience of what I went through, I thank God they didn't put me on that. So that's evil in itself, So when you look at all the centuries, whether you're, and Candace Owen had a really good point about what is genocide with Pierce Morgan. And to me, genocide is, I don't care what the dictionary says. Genocide is killing anybody, and especially the the way Candace Owens talks about the way in which we were taught to believe in government and to trust doctors and to trust this. And when I went through that experience with my leg, I lost faith. But then I could not have gotten through without this dog. Sophie Ann. Where is she? I have to take her to the vet. Like, as soon as I'm done this live, I'm going to call to book her an appointment. She's not feeling well. Does she look the same to you guys? Because to me, she's not the same. What is it, Bobbins? Are you just resting? Am I just over worrying? Because your pawpaws are okay. No, but I like today, honestly, she had some bowel issue, and I could tell she looked scared. And it's 3:35 and they take lunch from 12 to 1, and I called all morning and the line is busy, but at any rate, genocide. 9/11 was genocide. What's going on in Gaza and Palestine right now? Does anybody remember the movie The Last King of Scotland? You know what? I'm going to watch it tonight and report back tomorrow. But anyways, so that was the little bit about politics, and I was just very bemused, confused as to why JD would not understand the prolific past that these men's decision had on millions of people's lives. Because what would happen is, if you ever watched Crime of the Century, when doctors would start cutting people off and probably doing it themselves because they are afraid of getting sued because of these overdoses. But then when people would get cut off, by that time, the wiring in their brain had been changed, and that can happen over a month's period. That's how dangerous narcotics are. So if you have an injury, and I'm talking to anybody out there, if you've had an injury that led to drug abuse, don't be ashamed. The worst thing that you can do is hide a secret. And you have to tell somebody, because this is the corniest thing in the world to say, but you're not alone. And it's only through the grace of God that I'm here today. Whether it be my clumsiness, not even clumsiness, but I do tend to put everything on myself. But that driver clearly knew I didn't have enough room, and he could have slowed down, because the scooter goes 41 miles or 40 kilometers per hour only. So, and then, what happened to me with, from 9 to 17, I did a video about that. You can figure that out. It's on the playlist. Everything from Lasha, Rojenko, and L Soul Sisters is on the playlist. Yeah, so then doctors would cut people off, and then people would then turn to other substances that would release the feeling of getting the physical manifestation of withdrawal that comes with not having any substance in your body, because your body becomes so neurologically dependent on it because pain starts in the brain. The only other place you can really truly feel pain is your bones, because your bones bleed. Like, for instance, when that doctor drilled 2 holes in my knee with these pins, and they weren't pins. He just used two of these, but they were very pointy, and that one was just sticking right out of my flesh. And every month that went by, the bone erosion would get worse and worse and worse. So, and I was put on hydromorphone for long lasting and allotted for breakthrough. But I went under once, twice, and then 3 corrective surgeries to correct what the doctor did, and got away with it. And that is why I started the petition on change.org. So I usually save that for the end, because if I bring it up at the beginning of every video, I think people who watch this channel might throw up. So I guess when I'm talking about, my mind goes 25 miles an hour, and that is why I need to write down exactly what I'm going to talk about. All right, today I'm still doing my painting and poem. I hope you enjoy it. And when I say good and bad forces, I'm not talking about politicians or people. I'm talking about spirit. And on one of my lives, I explained how I came to meet my great-grandmother. And you'll have to find it. I wish that I could remix it as a short, and then you could watch that part. Or I could remix it as a clip. Anyways, okay, so what I wanted to tell you is we're going to get back into this, okay? I just want to take a few steps back. And it was a chapter that I didn't go through thoroughly enough. So we're going a couple of chapters back, kind of like a movie, like a flashback. So right now, we're talking about kind of the last days of Annalese's life. And this is prior to that occurrence. From September 1775 until Annalese's death on July 1st, 1976. July 1st. Father Arnold Rents, sorry, I need my glasses. Why am I apologizing that I need glasses? So as to biographical information, you know what I do want to say is Andrew Gold is loved around this community, and his book isn't released until September. And I've tried to order it from High Heaven, from his website. I don't get it, because I wanted to read that. However, do you know, I told you what we're reading starting July 22nd, and this is practice for all of us. It's the real story about JFK, the assassination, Jackie O, Christine Onassis, Mr. Onassis, the Beals, JFK Jr., Carolyn Bessette, the facts of the plane crash, the autopsies, the interviews that she did. It's almost like Tom Bowers' Revenge, and the one that he did on the House of Beckham that everybody's talking about right now. And I really tried to talk about it. I just found it so it's a reality that I can't comprehend. So to talk about something that I don't comprehend, I could probably take a look at it and apply that, yes, they're human beings, but even their faces look plastic to me now. So I do want to read the Kennedys, but this was the very first book that, Lasha, just shut up and read. From September 1975 until Annalese's death on July 1st, 1976, Father Arnold Rentz was destined to dominate the stage. Who was he? As to biological information, Rentz, the name Arnold, was awarded to him when he joined his religious order, was born in 1911 in a village near Friedrichshafen in southwest Germany, the second son of peasant parents, and so not in line to inherit any land. He dedicated himself early on to life in the service of the church. He attended the high school of the Salvation Order, studied in their College of Philosophy, and was ordained in 1938. His order then sent him on to missionary assignment to Fujian province in China, where he remained 1938 to 1953. That's quite a long time, actually. So they're giving you a little bit of history about the father who helps Annalise. And it's all very interesting, but at any rate. So in the course of the criminal investigation following Annalise's death, Father Rentz submitted to a physical and psychiatric examination by Dr. I'm just going to call him Dr. Lung, by Dr. Lung, as had Father Alt. As we learned from their deposition, he came to the interview in the habit of his order. They found him to be of stocky build and in good health. His movements and facial expression were pastoral, betraying his lifelong priestly activity. During the conversation, they sometimes found his answers to be a bit rambling, but all in all, definite and precise. So really what they're doing is they're testing his character. They found it curious, however, that he should be so obviously incapable of critical evaluation concerning the topic of exorcism, when his intellectual capacity in other areas was entirely normal. The reason, stated 40 pages later, was that by means of a CAT scan, they were able to discover an albeit minimal calcification of the brain. In their view, was apparently subject specific, a most astounding quality, one should note. For a minute calcification impairing only the specific cerebral region wherein resides the critical evaluation of exorcism and his own behavior with respect to it. There was no indication of schizophrenia, manic depressive, which we now call bipolar, or psychosis, hallucinatory. So it wasn't pathological. He wasn't mentally ill. Father Rentz was a man whose religious convictions, now this calcification of the brain, I believe, I'm going to stop there because I've been on for an hour. I really do believe that when you go through a trauma, your brain can shrink and have very, very, one of the participants on the channel believes that I have complex PTSD. So please be kind. If I jump from subject to subject, I'm really trying to stay on track. I know I shouldn't smoke marijuana before I come on. However, it helps me with my noise. If I only had the courage. Hey, and you know what? Oh, if you join High Voltage, we are going to head down there right now so I can put the laptop away and go. It's a sunny day. And I need to phone the vet right away about Sophia. So what's the theme? What's the theme of the day? What's the theme of your channel? Well, welcome to High Voltage. This is where all the magic happens, okay? And he even, you know what I even have here? For those of you that are new, I'm actually very shy. I am, except in my home. And I love to sing and I love to dance. And Melody Moon sent me some great channels to subscribe to help me with my painting. This is called Green AI Machine, meaning I'm not looking forward to the day when technology moves even forward. This was the first one I did, just simple trees. And this was called Snakes and Ladders. And then I wrote a poem. And why do I do these things? Because I have complex PTSD and they helped me heal. There's more to this channel than this, but I don't want to bore you and keep you amiss. So if you want to find out what I'm about, you have to go to change.org, search my name, and then you'll know and you can make a decision. And I can promise you, you will not doubt. And guess what? My battery's about to die. So that's a wrap. Welcoming, respecting aspects of all people's societies. Okay. God bless.